as I started doing some of this stuff, and we weren't seeing the reaction that I was hoping for and praying for, especially for thinking, oh, God told me to do this. And so you don't have as many people saying they want to try it out. Then you're like, wait, did I hear from God or did I just make this up? Maybe this was all a mistake. Am I doing something wrong? I think anytime you step out and do something, there's going to be a lot of, I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Welcome to Dreamers and Disciples today. I'm Wade. I'm glad that you're here. And this is a big day because this is the first repeat guest we've ever had on the show, our first guest of 2024, the most important person in my life, my wonderful, amazing, beautiful wife, Ferris, is with us today. So welcome.
Thank you. It is such an honor to be on here for a second time. Love your podcast. Love you. Well, glad to be here.
Thank you very much. Love you too. The feeling is mutual. And for those of you who you didn't watch the last episode, just so you know, we're in the same house. I don't have the camera gear to have us in one awesome shot. So Ferris is in the living room. I'm in my office. You actually look like you're in like the glory cloud right now with just the bright light behind you.
Well, our big windows, like this is the time of day where all the sunshine is just hitting through our windows. And so it looks like I'm in heaven. And we still have our Christmas tree up on this side. So I'm just going to
And we're recording this on January 4th, and our Christmas tree is still up. So
we did put most of our Christmas stuff away. This is, we do have some stuff outside we got to put away, but the Christmas tree is the final thing.
I did a poll on Instagram recently, and this was like December 28th, if people still had their Christmas tree up. And one of the options was, I'm never taking it down. And I guess that's our option right now. So we're never taking it down.
Maybe we should see how long we can actually keep it up. And it'd be an interesting study to see if you made it all the way to December, would you still really enjoy your Christmas tree or would you be sick of it?
Yeah.
But you could potentially decorate it for each holiday. Put some hearts on it for Valentine's.
An Easter tree.
And yeah, little hide Easter eggs inside the tree branches. Obviously, we have a fake tree because this would not be a real tree if it was still up.
Well, for those of you listening, we haven't brought you here for this episode to talk about Christmas trees or other Christmas decor. I am excited, though, because we talk a lot about dreams on this podcast. It's called Dreamers and Disciples. And I love talking about the journey of a dream and the birth of a dream. And so I think there's some really exciting stuff that I've been able to watch in your life behind the scenes that I'm excited to share with people today, because I think it'll give them some encouragement on how to take the first steps in their own dream. And so just to get us into it, what are you dreaming about right now, Ferris?
So first, I would say we are in a really fun season with our girls. We have twins that are 15. They'll turn 16 in June. We have one of them is driving right now. The other is about to get her driver's license. Sydney, our little one, is 11, and she has fully embraced the acting life. And so it's just been a really fun season to see them all have things that they really love, and they're becoming truly like their own people with their own ambitions and desires. And I'm having a lot of fun just being their mom, trying to help them like pursue the Lord, pursue their dreams, like enjoy this season of life where you have a little bit more freedom. And I just want to be like a safe place for them and just help like guide them in this season. So I love just that, like, that's the dream, right? Like to just embrace these years of them being here. They all can have great conversations with us. Actually, we probably have like the most conversations ever in this season with everyone wanting to tell us stuff.
And they all seem to happen late at night, right before we want to go to bed.
I'll be like, okay, I'm going to bed. And then it's like an hour and a half later and every single one of them has had something to share. And you're like, okay, say yes to these things. But I'm really tired. So I feel like that's the ultimate dream. And it's also been a fun season for us too. I feel like we both work from home, and we get to do ministry together. And so I think this has been also a fun season to dream for us of like, what does this next season look like as we, you know, choose how to do ministry, how to support one another, get to embrace like working alongside each other. And I really enjoy like this season as we are learning, you know, what this new thing looks like. So love that dream. And then my like,
Were you going to mention dreaming about our cold plunges in the morning?
oh God. I mean, guys, people listening, my husband on New Year's Day says, let's go jump in our pool. And I had just happened to see on Facebook a friend of mine who like said that they have been cold plunging. And so I was like, I guess it was a sign, like I got to do it. And so we are 4 days in, right? We've done it 4 days in a row, worked up from, did we just do 30 seconds the first day? Or no, a minute.
We did a minute the first day.
And now we're at 2. So our goal is 3. My toes are like frozen ice cubes.
You never in a million years would want to do something like this, but somehow I convinced you to.
I don't know. But it was funny too, because even in the summer, if the pool is like 70, I'm like, oh, it's too cold. Can't get in. And here I am. Our pool's probably like 40 and I'm doing it. Granted, it's only for 2 minutes. Our daughter had to say, you make me do hard things, Mom. So you do it. And I
That's the best part of the story.
Up.
All right. Well, what's the other thing you're going to say?
The last dream is what I'm like currently in progress doing. And that is like starting I guess ministry, you would call it ministry of just trying to help families get God's word in their heart. And I called it Little Bitty Seeds because we're planting one verse at a time. So they're little bitty seeds. And it's something I've gotten to do a lot with our girls, and Sydney does the crafts with me. And it's been a really, really fun season. Like I really enjoy it. And I hope it ends up helping a lot of people, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, there are many things that we could talk about today. And when you were on the podcast last, you kind of hinted at this, like God had put a dream in your heart, but you didn't really go into it because it was still in the infancy stage. Like we were still trying to figure out what it was. But I have loved watching the journey you've been on in the last year, really seeking the Lord, because I remember a conversation, and we had several versions of this conversation in the last couple of years of where, you've been a graphic designer for a long time. How like 20 years, would you say?
Yeah. I started doing it right out of college. Internship with George Nicholson, if you're listening. First job.
Yep. And you've done it, that's been your career, and it's given you a lot of flexibility. I think you're really great at it. But over the last several years, you've kind of started to fall out of love with graphic design. It hasn't been something that's energized you. And we've had a lot of conversations where you were really trying to figure out, what am I passionate about in this season of life? Obviously you're passionate about your family, you're passionate about the Lord, but you're like, what can I contribute? Can you kind of walk through just that struggle and those feelings?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the first things too is like, I am a very steady person. Like my personality is steady. So for me to have like huge highs or huge lows isn't very frequent. And so one of my prayers has always been, like you said, like I truly love my family. I love the Lord. But like trying to figure out like a career, like what I do in the 9 to 5 or whatever, like I was just very steady with that. And so one of my prayers has been, for a couple of years, I actually have my little like a journey in prayer book. And on December 2nd of 2021, I was like, God, I just really want to have something I'm passionate about. And we had so many conversations of just like, I'm just checking off a box when I do this. There's no part of me that comes alive. So I had been praying for that God give me something, even if it was outside of graphic design. And I really we have been homeschooling our girls for about, well, now it's 5 years. And so one of the things that had been so fun for me was like teaching art to the girls. And we would have these little art projects that we did. And we would, each week come up with something new. And so I was truly like flourishing and loving that with them, and actually just being with the girls and like teaching them. So I was really starting to be like, maybe there's something with like kids stuff or art or something along those lines, but I didn't really know. I just knew I enjoyed doing that. And then we also had started just trying to learn more Bible verses. And so we had been coming up with a Bible verse, and I was like making a very simple graphic, but just putting them on.
I love the way you said we've been coming up with a Bible verse, like we were creating our own.
Well, we were just, I guess, picking one out. We were picking out a verse. And yes, we did. We have not wrote our own Bible verses. So we were picking one out and putting, like I was kind of designing something really simple, and we were pasting them into like little spiral notebooks, and we were trying to memorize them at dinner. And we actually were coming up with little songs, and I was having so much fun doing that too. And so, so I don't know, all of those things started like kind of coming together. And
by songs, they were like super short, just basically putting the scripture to some type of melody that was fun to all sing around the table and kind of be goofy and silly with.
Yes. And just very short. So like you were done in just a few seconds. And so, but the girls were actually really enjoying it. And, but I did get to a point where, because I was having other stuff I was working on, I was like, I just wish that I had like a site that I could go to just like, they gave me the verse, they gave me like the little cute graphic, and we could just easily come up with stuff and have it all printed out. And I'm pretty sure there are tons of things like that. But I had a moment where I was like, well, why am I not doing that for us? Like I can design stuff and we're coming up with this. I just need to like make it a priority. And so we started doing that a little bit more. And yeah, so it's kind of little bitty seeds started. That was this humble beginnings. And I guess that we still are in very humble beginnings, but that was the very, very beginning.
We'll get back to the show in just a moment, but I wanted to let you know about my new program called Your Dream Blueprint. This is an 8-step framework to help you transform your dream into reality. So if you've ever wondered if this idea you have is a dream worth pursuing, or you don't know how to take the first steps to actually try to bring it to life, then this program is for you. I'll walk you through an 8-step process to discern whether or not this is a good dream that aligns with your giftings, to help you develop the next steps and actually design what it could look like and how it can help other people. So if you want to get started on the first steps towards your dream, then you can check out Your Dream Blueprint at wadejoye.com/yourdreamblueprint. Now back to the show. What you just described are some of the things that were happening already in the background almost as you were praying for, God, what's my passion? And I also like really respected how, you were very thankful for the jobs that you had and what you were able to do. And you were very consistent and faithful at those. But at the same time, you're like, God, if there's something else, I just want to be open to it. And there was one morning where you were like, I just have to tell you about like what I feel like God spoke to me last night. Because to me, this was the catalyst of the seed for little bitty seeds being planted in your heart. So talk through that.
So I had like this pain in my jaw for a while. And so I had one night where like I just could not sleep. Like I had the pain in the jaw, had taken some medicine that the doctor had given me. And I mean, I was just like, normally I am like the person that is out so fast and can sleep through anything and sleep anywhere. And so I was up, I think, for most of the night, like hours. And I really just felt like God kind of had downloaded just these ideas. And I was like, is this from God? Like, I feel like it is. And so basically it had kind of like, it was like, you've already been doing these Bible verse things. Don't you think like this would be a great thing to try and get sent out so other families could participate? And so I had like, I guess it was an initial idea, and it has like morphed since then. But I felt like, God said, do these Bible verses, come up with the song. Like, you love the art stuff. So like, why don't you pull in those crafts that you could come up with that go along with the Bible verse? And like, we were doing a Bible story and all these kind of different things. And so as it's morphed, like, we've taken some things out and done things differently, but I just felt like God like clearly gave me this idea. And there had been like, my family had gone through, like, I was having to help my family out a lot too in this season. My dad had heart surgery, and it was just, I was doing a lot. So for me to get something like so specific, while other things were going on too, it was just, I was like, okay, I feel like this is from God and I need to be obedient. And I feel like I've had like ideas before, but to have something where it was like in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep. My mind would not shut off. And it was just like idea after idea. And I was like writing stuff in my phone, and was just getting really passionate and excited about it. And like, I remember like, I was like, I want to tell like Wade right now. And like, you woke up and I was like telling you, and I was telling the girls, and I was just like, maybe this is the thing. Like, maybe this is what like I'm supposed to do. And I just remember I kept being like, well, if it's God, I have to obey. Like, even if it fails, even if this doesn't end up being the next thing I'm supposed to do, I at least have to take steps of obedience and at least see it through. And so I started like trying to do all that. But yeah, that was definitely like as close as I felt like God just being like, here's the idea. Like, I'm giving it to you. I felt like, it was truly from God.
I know you just mentioned it, but for those of you listening who don't know Ferris, which is most of you, she isn't joking. Like, she can go to sleep so fast, and it drives me crazy because it takes me forever to go to sleep. And so number one, for her to not sleep at all one night was weird. But I just remember the excitement and the clarity you had the next morning, and you were like, I think this is it. I think this is what we're supposed to do. Yet you also had the humility to say, I think this is what God is saying. I'm not 100% sure, but it makes sense. It lines up with our giftings. And also you were using what we were already doing as a family. And I love that, because sometimes we think, the dream God has for our life, or the dreams that we're supposed to have, or whatever, is somewhere other than where we are right now. And I feel like you were using what was already in your hands in a way that would no longer just bless our family, but bless other people's families. And so someone else was on the other side of your dream beyond just the joys. Like, you wanted to actually bless other families. But you mentioned that it's changed a lot since then. And it's only been like, I think Little Bitty Seeds has been a thing for 3 months now.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk through the process of figuring out how a dream evolves, because sometimes we hold the initial dream so tightly. And I think that can be what God just uses to get you started, but he wants us to be open-handed so it can become what it needs to become along the way. Talk about that journey.
Yeah, I think for like at the beginning, for me to have like, I was putting down all the ideas and like whatever was coming into my mind. I think like a lot of that was, if I didn't have probably a clear like outline at the beginning, I don't know if I would have jumped into it as fast, like actually been obedient as quickly, because I probably would have been like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, so let me like just kind of like feel this out, or, and then my personality would be, I'd just let it go to the background and not like jump in on it. So I feel like with what I initially had, probably it was you had something every single day, and, it was all laid out. And so when I first did that, it just helped me have a really great outline. And then as I sent out stuff, I'd put it out to like some families, just to say like, do you think you would like this? And then just got like feedback. And I was like, my heart is to help other people. So if I never like get the feedback from other people of what is helpful, then, like that's what the journey is for, right? Just to help others.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it just stays in my head as my ideas and what I want, then I don't feel like I'm putting the focus in the right place. And so I had those people have some feedback and they gave me some great stuff. And then I think as I started like actually going, okay, this might be something that I really try and run with, then we started like being like, it may be too much. Like I think for a family who's like, they have school, they have activities, they have church, they have all kinds of things. Like I may be giving them way too much information to actually like, they might just get it and go, whoa, I can't fit this all in my busy lifestyle. So then I tried to like pare it back and just have like, here are like the two things that like memorize the verse. And then my heart really was at like when I boiled it down to like, why am I truly excited about this? Like we go back to the passion thing. Like what is the thing that I get really excited about? And it was making these crafts because one, I was getting to have this time with Sydney, which once again, that's going back to like, I want to be mom first. So if I get to like have something I'm doing, but it also is incorporating like my kids, then that's going to be the heart. And so a lot of the other stuff that was part of it was me doing separately from the girls. And so yeah, I mean, I think it was just like trying to navigate what was just kind of an idea to help me launch, but then what was the thing I was actually passionate about that as I asked people, felt like it would be the most helpful. So I think it could still morph. Like I don't know if, there's other things that need to change and shift, but we've been tweaking it as we go and adding different things. So yeah, I think what you need to like, what I've been learning is just like have the initial idea and keep your hands open and like, don't hold so tightly to something that you're not willing to see how it like transitions through time to be more beneficial to the most people.
And I would say too, don't wait for perfect clarity before taking your first step. I think as you take step after step after step, that's when things start to become clearer, and that's how God guides you. And like you said, when you get other people's wisdom, other people's perspective, but none of that happens if you just keep the idea in your heart and you never take action on it.
Right.
And we've talked about it, but like, I don't think we've clearly said what Little Bitty Seeds actually looks like now. So it's a month activity guide that's like people subscribe to it, and every month they get an activity guide for their family and what's in that.
Yeah. So the main thing is that you're going to get 4 verses. So basically for each week, you can kind of say, I'm going to memorize this verse and we're going to do a craft with it. And so that's like the core of the activity guide. So you have 4 verses, 4 crafts. But then with that, we wanted to add in just some like, if your family has time for some of this other things, like we would love for you to use it. It's here for you, but don't, do what will be best for your family. So we put in some like fun family activities. So like this current, the January guide is talking all about who God is. And so we talk about how he's powerful and he knows everything and he's present everywhere and he's a loving. And so one of the crafts is like a solar system necklace to remind you of how powerful God is, that he was the creator of everything. So then a family activity will be like go outside at night and go stargazing with your family and point out different stars and just like enjoy God's creation. And so like if your family has time for that, great. If they don't, whatever. But we'll give you some family activities to do. And then we have some outreach things that might be helpful for that time of year, that month. And then I put in just a few like fun little games that the kids can do, like word search or a little maze and stuff.
Conversation starters.
some conversation starters. So those will take those 4 verses and what our theme is, and you'll have just, cut up little pieces of paper and you can put them at your table. And then at dinner, you can kind of ask a question, just to kind of like get back to like your family. Because I grew up in a Christian home, but we didn't have a lot of conversations about God, like at home a lot. Like we taught, we had church and we talked about that. And I knew our family like loved the Lord, but I think sometimes it's fun for your family to just have like, what's God teaching you right now? Like, what do you love about God? What do you love that God created? Like just fun conversations that just, the conversation may go to somewhere fun, like, I want this animal or whatever. But when it starts with like, what do you love about God, or what do you love that God's like done in your life? I think those are really great questions to just have in your day-to-day life. And that's the hope is, even with the verses, like we're doing a fun song and we put those on Instagram, and I give our community like a link to a YouTube video of them. And the hope is like, play the song, like let it be fun, get it in your kid's head as just a fun song to sing. And then eventually it will navigate towards, you probably can say it without having to sing the song, and you have planted a little verse in your kids' hearts. And it actually is fun at our house because, our kids are singing all the songs, and you will hear like randomly through, the day, or someone sing a little snippet of one of our verses. And we've never had, we've just never had that before. Like this has been a recent thing that we've had where we're just singing verses. And I personally was horrible at memorizing stuff. And so in doing this, I'm like, I think I've learned more verses in this short time of us, like trying to make little songs out of it, than I have in probably all growing up. So I think I can testify that it's at least working for me.
Well, I just love that it's helped us have natural conversations about who God is. And I think it also is meant just to help parents, especially parents with young kids. Like, we know it can be awkward sometimes to know how to do this or find the resources, and we just want to make it as easy as possible for them. I also love that you're wanting to incorporate like some community aspects of some calls with parents, and just to help figure out how you can serve them, ideas that we can get from one another. So even that, I think, is something that's going to continue to evolve and grow.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to have like a lot of families who are cheering each other on. Like, our kid just got this. Like, I think that would be a really fun environment to have, where you could weekly get to see other families just enjoying God's word and crafts together. I'm really excited about it.
So all that's awesome. And if you're a mom or dad and this interests you, I'll link everything in the show notes, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But I want to go back to that night you felt like God spoke to you, because it felt so clear then. I also know in this journey that there have been days where that hasn't been so clear. Can you talk about that? Because I think that'll encourage a lot of people too, because sometimes we get stuck when things get hard.
Yeah, I feel like when I go, so I have my little like prayer journal I've been doing these last couple of years, and I, write down when I feel like I've heard something, or if I have a prayer for something. And so, I wrote down what I felt like, and I'm like, I feel like God spoke. I feel like God spoke. And then the farther I got away from that day, it gets a little more fuzzy and it feels distant. And so, as I started doing, some of the stuff, and like, we weren't seeing the reaction that I was hoping for and praying for. And especially for thinking like, oh, God told me to do this. And so you don't have as many people saying they want to try it out. Then you're like, wait, did I hear from God, or did I just like make this up? And like, maybe this was all a mistake. And am I doing something wrong? And so I've had all of the gamut of emotions, and I know like you've had the same thing. So we've kind of been like, cheering each other on and encouraging each other. Because I think anytime you step out and do something, there's going to be a lot of like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I thought it was going to be, it's easy, or like God told me to do it, so I'm going to see all the like success or the progression
Right.
or whatever. And so when you don't see it, or you don't see, I guess, what your expectation was, even if it still is great, then you're just, I don't know, you question it. And so I definitely have had a lot of days where I just wasn't sure. And every time I would like go back to like, okay, the day I felt like God told me, and I'd have to read my little like prayer thing that I wrote, this is what I felt. I felt like it was truly from God. So I'm going to stay with that until I like, God gives me another night, I guess, where I can't sleep and download something. But I'm going to like, that's what I feel like he told me, and I'm going to stick with it. And then when I like step back and I go, well, what is the thing? Like, even if I take out, I felt like God told me, like if I step back, the mission of this, I guess, is to plant Bible verses, like direct God's word. Like I'm not putting any fluff in these songs. Like it's pure, like word for word. And maybe a few cha-cha-chas in there, but mostly just word for word, God's Bible verse. And so when I do that, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to just get families to learn God's word in a fun way, and like make talking about Jesus and talking about God and talking about our relationship with him and what it can look like be an everyday moment, then I'm like, I mean, even if God didn't tell me to do it, it's still like on mission with what he's called us to do. Like I'm trying to spread the message of Jesus. And so I can at least be secure in knowing like I'm walking alongside of what our mission is as Christians. And so I think that actually is kind of helpful, because I've just kind of said like, God, I'm not even holding tight to this dream necessarily. Like if little bitty seeds just doesn't work, but it leads to the next thing that you've called me to do, then awesome. Like I'm glad I got to like take a step of faith and walk to the next thing. And if then he calls me to be, I don't know, like a children's worker at church or whatever it is, I don't know, but that's what I feel like God called me to do, and it led me to that path, then like that's amazing. Like I made the step. So I think, and that's, I mean, everything that you say. So, I mean, I'm just doing what you've been teaching me with your book and your teachings, and I'm listening to you, because it's like you can have this dream that you're really excited and you're really passionate about, and maybe it just serves something for one season and it leads to something else, or you did it just for those people that needed to hear it for that, but now it transitions to something different. And so I hope that it keeps going and it grows. But also I'm just going to hold it as just use it how you want to, in whatever way, in whatever time frame. And when I need to let go, I'll let go. If it doesn't go anywhere, like just lead me to the next thing. I think I'm just really in a season where I just want to be an obedient servant, and I don't want to be doing something to just check a box off, or something to like, I just want to do what God called me to do. So I'm trying this way, and we'll see where it goes.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it at this stage, because I think sometimes it's easy to bring somebody on and they've been through the hard part of their dream and it looks like they're in the successful season. And sometimes if you're in the beginning stages, it's so hard to relate with someone who's on the other side of it. And you're like, will I ever even get to that point? But what I've loved is watching you, like you're dreaming big and you're praying big prayers and you're hoping that God uses this to bless a lot of families. But I also see you trying your best to be open-handed with it. And I see you just taking step after step after step of just trying to be faithful to what is stirring in your heart that you think is from God. And I really wanted to encourage someone listening to where you feel like the Lord has put something on your heart and it seems like it lines up with your giftings and your season of life, and other people affirm it, then take the step. Like, don't wait, but also don't expect overnight for things to work out. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a long road. And sometimes we extinguish our own dreams by abandoning them when they're in this fragile place. And I think that's when we have to continue to nurture it, to let it evolve, to let it change, but also don't back down too quickly either. I think this is such a formative process in a dreamer. And I think it's a formative process, not just for the dream, but it's a formative process in your own heart of learning what it means to be faithful and to trust God and to work hard and to fine tune things. And there's a lot of humility in that too. So I've just loved watching you on this journey. I've loved watching our family be on it. And so, yeah, we're praying big prayers, and we'd love to invite everybody who's listening who has young kids to join the Little Bitty Seeds community. Tell people how they can do that if they want to.
Yeah, so you can go to www.littlebittyseeds.com and you can sign up there. And you can also download a free craft that's basically like the Bible verse and craft. So you can kind of get just like a little glimpse of what it looks like before you commit to being part of the community. And then we post a lot of stuff on Instagram. So that's at Little Bitty Seeds. And we put the songs up on there. We'll even do little like snippets of the crafts that we do. And so, whenever you go there, there's also a link. And yeah, those are the two main ways I would say.
Awesome. Well, I have loved having you on the show today. It's been great to talk about just the journey that God has our family on, has you on. And I'd love to end by you praying, and hopefully you don't get mad at me for putting you on the spot to pray on the podcast. But
I don't at all.
I'd love for you to pray for just families that are, for the mom, for the dad who's listening, and they want to see God move in their family. And whether it's Little Bitty Seeds is in the picture or not for them, just pray that the Lord will do a work in their families.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. This has been fun. I really do count it as an honor that I am your second or your first repeat podcast interview,
Yep.
I guess. But yeah, let's pray. Jesus, we just thank you so much for your goodness, for your love, for your mercy, for your grace on us. And I just pray for all the moms and dads out there and the grandparents and everyone that's listening, just that they would just have a real connection and just journey of getting closer to you. I feel like there are so many things in our day-to-day that keep us busy and take our attention away from you, that distract us. And so, God, I pray that right now that these people listening will just feel a connection with you, that they'll remove some distractions and just take a few minutes to just soak in your presence, soak in your words, soak in who you are. And we just want to glorify you, God. So I pray in whatever our words may be, our actions may be, that our steps that we're taking are just trying to make your name just spread throughout the world and our small communities and our workplaces and our family. Let's just all be people who are just trying to spread the name of Jesus to as many people as we can. And God, I pray that if there are families out there that maybe Little Bitty Seeds is something that will encourage them and can be something that starts bringing really fun, engaging moments with their family. But if not, I just pray that wherever anyone is, that they would just have their family just have a really fun time talking about you, learning about you, and then trusting their lives with you to just let you be in control. And so we love you so much, and we thank you for who you are and your goodness to us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks for joining us today for Dreamers and Disciples. I'd love for you to support the show by subscribing wherever you're watching or listening. So subscribe on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. And while you're there, leave a review or a comment. It really helps us out when you do that. And please share the show so we can continue to grow the community of Dreamers and Disciples. We'll see you back here next week.